Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast, and today we have a 1v1 on Greentooth Gorge. Our first player will be Bloodrain, playing as the Warlock, melee hero for the Eldar, who can become a spellcaster or a melee tank, depending on his war gear choices. And his opponent is going to be ValHero, Twitch TV, also known as DarkHero, playing as the Techmarine, shooty Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion and the ability to repair vehicles. So we've got some pretty good players right here. ValHero is also known as DarkHero, one of the overall best players in the game at the moment. And while some of the best players in the game have reputations of being kind of toxic to varying degrees, some mildly so, some a little bit more than mildly. DarkHero is kind of, you know, he's a little bit different. He's very wholesome, actually, very friendly. He's kind of like his own, what's that expression? Like he's his own like unique flower kind of thing. Very pretty unique individual. One of the things he also likes to do is he likes to experiment a lot. He likes to be creative with his builds. So we're going to see the triple scout build right here. This is, these days, this is a DarkHero trademark. Many years ago, it was a Noisy Elmo trademark. Opening scout build for the Space Marines. It's an interesting one, and it's especially something that when you're new to the game, it's very, very hard to understand why something like this could work, because Scout DPS is pretty minimal. They only do 7 DPS per model, and on a 3-model squad, it's only 21 DPS. Against any other ranged squad in Tier 1, they straight up lose in a straight up fight. Now, one of the advantages of Scouts is that they do have faster baseline speed. So one of the ideas here is to just run around the map a lot, try to cap up as much of it as you can, beat your opponent on map control. And much of the real, like, fighting or DPS, like your primary DPS... Oh, Scout's gonna eat a grenade here. Your primary DPS for DarkHero in a match like this is really actually just the Techmarine himself. He's now both your primary DPS as well as he's also your primary tanking unit. Since he both does the most damage out of any of the Space Marine units, he can also take more of the damage. Scouts, on the other hand, especially, they don't have any upgrades just yet, so they're mostly map control. If you have 2 scout squads bunched up together, then 2 scout squads can take on a single Dire Avenger squad, especially if they have cover. But we also have to deal with the potential fact that Bloodrain could try to break the cover or force these scouts out of cover using some of those grenades, as we are going to see both Dire Avenger squads upgraded with their Dire Avenger aspects. And this one Dire Avenger squad is honestly kind of caught out of position. So Force Melee is going to come in, and I was wondering if he was going to attempt a grenade. There's going to be a grenade coming out of DarkHero, though. I think it's going to be a little late. Does still pick up a model anyway. Meanwhile, the Banshees will work on the generators. And also what's interesting, at the moment, I was about to say that DarkHero doesn't have an answer yet for the Banshees, and Banshees are something where, as far as certainly, at least for Tier 1 melee units, Howling Banshees are very much at the top of the food chain, and they're something that you need to respond to them in some way. You can't just go around thinking that you can not have like a real counter to them. You need some kind of on-demand crowd control in the long run to be able to deal with Banshees. So obviously, especially with a build like this, you actually have a lot of options. We finally see our first shotgun upgrade coming from these scouts. And this is also really risky for this Warlock here, being so low on hit points, he might go down. Yeah, that was a major overextension by Bloodrain, and honestly very, very surprising. And I thought it also, especially if the scouts had actually finished their shotgun upgrade, if they had used their shotgun blast and knocked them down, but they didn't even need to. That was a very surprising overextension from Bloodrain, and very costly. I mean, Bloodrain, he's getting pretty close to Tier 2, and he basically has to make the decision of whether he wants to go Tier 2 now. He decides to buy the Warlock back. I was actually going to say, I think maybe you go to Tier 2 first. But, I mean, the good thing for Bloodrain is he has a pretty strong requisition income. Pretty strong by virtue of the fact that he's gone for a pretty light build. With only... So no Tier 1.5 squads out of Bloodrain. He's only got upgrades on his regular starting Tier 1 squads. Which, these, of course, the the Eldar squads, you definitely want upgrades on them. Like, these upgrades, these aspects, you're not going to see, for the most, you're very, very rarely going to see an Eldar player head into Tier 2 without the aspects. You might see them delay the aspects long enough to get a Tier 1.5 squad out on the field, but we see that Bloodrain's focus is actually to avoid the Tier 1.5 squads entirely. And to some extent, that's a little surprising. I guess it's just the play style and the build that he wants to go for at this time. Grenade! Oh my god, 3 models on that grenade taken down. Very nice grenades out of DarkHero. It's also interesting to not see, this is definitely a matchup for Eldar where Rangers would be quite appropriate. In general, I personally feel that Rangers are pretty strong against Space Marines because they have so many choice targets to go for. The Scouts, Tactical Marines, and I mean especially against a player who has triple Scouts. Like any squad that he can find, any unit that he could find that's not a Techmarine would be a high-value target for a Ranger squad, and the Rangers would just massively outrange everything. So DarkHero going to be going into a Dreadnought. And I think this is also... it's hard for me to remember back to the Noisy days when this was more like the Noisy build. Noisy I'm talking about as a player who went by Noisy or Noisy Elmo or Pega, who was more of an old-school player, a little bit rusty these days. DarkHero maybe just carrying the torch, or maybe it's just his own variation of things. And he will be going for a Dreadnought. And part of the advantage of going for this triple scout build is that you have a lot of repair support for a Dreadnought. So, of course, this Dreadnought is very much going to be the core of DarkHero's army. I'm pretty positive that this is going to be an assault cannon Dreadnought. Look, against what Bloodrain has, I think the idea here is to really support the Dreadnought and let the Dreadnought really be like the primary source of DPS. That being said, right now the Dreadnought is starting to get into a good position where it might be able to catch the Howling Banshees on retreat. They're pretty low. Let's take a look at that retreat path. Do they... Okay, that's not going to be a retreat path that I think the Dreadnought can intercept. I think he might get one swing, but that's not going to be enough. Gets one model. So Bloodrain doing well in terms of victory points right now. 481 to less than 300 now for DarkHero. So, in spite of the advantage of the triple scout supposing to be map control, he hasn't really made good on that just yet. Right now we've got a Warlock who is drawing the aggro of literally 3 scout squads. So this is time that the Warlock is buying, but the Warlock needs to be careful about making sure that he doesn't pay for this with his life. And DarkHero doesn't even attempt a grenade. I feel like DarkHero could have actually been the kind of player who would attempt the grenade by the scouts on that single model and possibly actually connect it. Yeah, I mean, DarkHero still kind of playing a dangerous game. I mean, in the end, he wins this fight, but I feel like Bloodrain's kind of playing chicken here, where that front scout squad, it was a little mysterious exactly what they were trying to do right there, and maybe that was the mind game. At any rate, DarkHero, oh my god, DarkHero actually going for a second Dreadnought. So DarkHero is a very good player, but I feel like the build that he's going for right now, okay, that's not an Assault Cannon Dreadnought. That is going to be a multi-melta Dreadnought, which, given the fact that it's dealing with a Falcon, is actually pretty good. Honestly, I actually think this Dreadnought could turn around, start taking on the Falcon, and with Blessing of the Omnissiah active, oh, but it actually just has Scout Repair. If anything, I think the Dreadnought should have turned around sooner to try to put some pressure on the Falcon. Okay, the other Dreadnought being kept in melee at the moment. I like the idea of actually, if you actually have 2 Dreadnoughts, which is generally not a common build, especially in high-level 1v1 games, and these are high-level players, but DarkHero just likes to do things. I think it is nice to keep one as melee. Ooh, I think that's a dead Warlock. No. I thought the Dreadnought was able to get like another shot off, but it wasn't. Because in part, the Dreadnought now in quite a bit of trouble. But I don't actually think the Falcon is going to be able to finish it off by itself. Eventually, it also has to worry about possibly putting itself at risk. Techmarine in melee here with the Dire Avengers. So Melted Dreadnought now going for the Falcon yet again. Guardian Weapon Team trying to set up this. That's a dead Techmarine. Oh, that's also some dead Dire Avengers. So this one actually will not be kept in melee, as I was saying before. Which is also... Yeah. If he actually had kept it in melee, he actually could have put it... could have just knocked those Howling Banshees away. Or ripped them apart with a few splash damage basic attacks. Alright, so for the moment, Bloodrain holds the middle. He also holds his victory points. DarkHero has a dead Techmarine. This is actually starting to look pretty rough for DarkHero. And, I mean, this is definitely a rather strange build for him. Well, it might not actually be strange for him, but it's strange in general. So, we're actually seeing some of the problems with the Dreadnought. The Dreadnoughts are... For one, their mobility is quite low. They are rather slow. And we're also seeing the fact that they demand so much repair support. This is so much time right now that DarkHero is spending just to try to get these Dreadnoughts topped up before he can actually get back out on the field. It's now a triple cap against him. And it's a triple cap against him, and Bloodrain still has 481 victory points. Bloodrain also going to be going in Tier 3 as well. DarkHero, I'm not sure if he even makes it into Tier 3, like ever. This is looking pretty rough. That being said, this is a pretty good opening. I mean, that's a lot of damage for the Howling Banshees to take for just standing in that area. Also interesting to see that this Warlock has not received any upgrades. We'll just chop up these scouts. The scouts will not care. So yeah, no upgrades on the Warlock. I think it's actually kind of reasonable. I'm thinking about the Warlock's upgrades, and I'm actually not feeling like any of the upgrades that he has against what DarkHero has at the moment would actually be super important or super effective. Like, at best, maybe like a warp throw and try to catch the scouts out and punish them. But, okay, so this is DarkHero's push. He's moving forward. There goes the Assault Cannon Barrage. Grenade goes in on the Guardian Weapon Team. They don't actually take damage because they were behind the energy shield. Another grenade goes in. They'll definitely take damage this time. The Guardian Weapon Team actually in a lot of trouble, but manages to get into the Webway Gate. So that's a push for DarkHero that is successful. He needs to put a unit on this victory point, though, so that he can actually start ticking the victory points down in his favor, because soon he will be down to less than 100. Fewer than 100. All right, the late Devastator for DarkHero is also quite interesting. That's a potential kill opportunity on the Warlock, but I don't think he'll actually get it. And no grenade attempt from the scouts either. And I know it's not easy to just target a single entity, but the opportunity was there. And again, if there's a player who could pull that off, I feel like DarkHero should be one of them. This Falcon, I feel like, is being a little brazen. Devastators... I feel like their intention is to upgrade... Well, I was going to say, I feel like their intention is to upgrade to a Las Cannon to maybe deal with this Falcon, but I feel like he actually doesn't have to. And I think there's also a lot of value that DarkHero could get out of just using the Devastators to control the Banshees or the... Oh no, that probably should be some dead scouts. They'll get into the garrison. Alright, well, they can survive there for a while. It's literally only a lone shotgun scout, though. And now there's actually support for that scout squad. This scout squad just might make it home. Well, not even the squad. Just it's literally just this scout might make it home alive. And those Banshees actually suffering for it. Oh my god, Bloodrain is dropping the micro. Like, what is this Banshee still doing here? Like, one more shot from the Dreadnought. And this one I can say for sure. One more shot from the Dreadnought would have actually finished off that Banshee. The Dreadnought with the multi-melt actually does 190 damage per shot. And that was a single Banshee model that had fewer than 100 hit points left. All right, well, you know, suddenly things are finally working out for DarkHero. He finally is making good on his double Dreadnought build. And the Lascannon Devastator, so DarkHero's now really set up actually in a very good position because the Falcon can't really approach. There isn't actually a good way at the moment for Bloodrain to really address this Lascannon Devastator. I think the strongest way would probably be an Autarch call-in, but the Autarch call-in would also be problematic in so many other ways. Bloodrain is right now struggling to deal with this double vehicle threat. He doesn't have a huge amount of AV. I mean, yes, he's got the single Bright Lance, but I actually think that single Bright Lance is not quite sufficient to deal with what DarkHero is currently putting up here. This Warlock, okay. And what's also curious is that Bloodrain is actually really floating. I don't know if he's looking for an avatar at this point. That's my best guess. That's actually literally the only thing he could be saving for, taking advantage of the fact that he has the luxury of time to actually wait for the resources to get an avatar. Now, the good things about the avatar, well, since DarkHero did go for such a scout-heavy build, he doesn't have a whole lot of really great range damage against something like an avatar. Like, he doesn't have access to a Plasma Tack Squad or a Sternguard Veteran Squad, which would be more effective sources of damage against something like an avatar. So, DarkHero's best sources of damage against the avatar, believe it or not, it's actually not the Lascannon. It would be melee swings. Melee swing from this Dreadnought, the Assault Cannon. And then this one actually would... Actually, I think even this Dreadnought still would do more damage in melee to an avatar. And then... oh my god, the Falcon actually getting pretty close to dying here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually this Dreadnought would do more damage in melee than range to an avatar. But, of course, because the Dread is... Because the Multi-Melta is ranged, it would probably just be better off shooting at ranged. It would just do slightly more damage with its fist. Okay, Avatar is here. I do think that... the Avatar, if it just walks in, it should be able to create space for the Eldar army to capture one of those other victory points. But I also feel like DarkHero can kite away from the Avatar pretty well. So the Avatar is still just standing around here. Okay, so he's going to make his play now. Assault Cannon Barrage does hit one of the Dire Avengers. He's going to make his play right now. The Avatar will actually... So certainly the one unit that cannot kite away from the Avatar is the Lascannon Devastator Squad. And that is pretty crucial. The Lascannon Devastator, both an important source of damage against the Avatar, and of course also snares the Avatar, which is very important as well. As we do see the Avatar actually very content to just try to get in melee with the Dreadnought that is actually the primary source of damage against the Avatar. Okay, but here's another good source of damage against the Avatar. It's going to be the Meltagun, which... I guess he wants the Meltagun because he wants to be able to threaten both the Avatar as well as the Falcon. Oh, wow! That's a lot of damage! Why isn't the Avatar going to take on... to just finish off the Falcon? I mean, if you... Like, it's not like DarkHero is moving this thing. There we go. He actually just kept it in there against, even against the Wailing Doom. Wailing Doom does do plasma cannon damage, so it's actually quite a good source of damage against vehicles. Unfortunately, it feels like DarkHero is... I don't know what happened. Did DarkHero, like, disconnect or something? All right, well, you know, we kind of got some mysterious kills on both sides, I feel. Oh my god, the Avatar is probably gone. I'm just realizing. Yeah, I mean, it's coming around for a flank, but that almost, like, doesn't even matter. Yeah, I'm like trying to... I don't know, I'm trying to think this through, like... Was the Avatar really the best choice? Maybe even if it was a good choice, I feel like he might have pushed in too far with it. I think the focus with the Avatar should have just been move out onto the victory point to just use that to create space so that the rest of your army could come in, capture the victory point, and then set up your own position. DarkHero actually content to... Is he? I was going to say content to throw away this Dreadnought, but is he even? He's getting another Dreadnought, of course. He's still in here. Meanwhile, Howling Banshees wipe... What did they wipe? They wiped the Devastators. So that's no more Las Cannon Devastator against the Falcon, which does actually make the Falcon super hard to kill at this time. Another Scout Squad in quite a bit of trouble. We've got the Falcon trying to chase after the Dreadnought. And you know what? I don't think there's a Blessing of the Omnissiah cast ready. DarkHero, I think, he's got the red, but I think it's probably on cooldown from the last time that he used it. Double Assault Cannon Dreadnought out now. At least one of those should drop the Assault Cannon Barrage on the Guardian Weapon Team. Guardian Weapon Team is moving up and unsetting up. We now have triple Dreadnoughts out on the field. DarkHero definitely going to need that Blessing of the Omnissiah somewhat soon, as well as the Assault Cannon Barrage. There it is. Assault Cannon, does it finish off? He should finish off the Guardian Weapon Team. That's huge. And Bloodrain also floating massively yet again. What is he waiting for, another Avatar or something? I don't know if that's the play. Yeah, the Assault Cannon Dreadnought. I mean, the Dreadnoughts are actually doing a lot of work for DarkHero, but they can't do a whole lot against the Falcon. Techmarine, I believe he was trying to set a mine, but just couldn't manage it. I think also what we see here, so, like, we have a pretty obvious theme to DarkHero's build, the Dreadnought focus, which explains the triple scouts as well, and also explains going for the Techmarine, because he's literally had, before he lost one of the scout squads, or rather, before he lost two of them, he actually had 4 repair units. Alright, Bloodrain. Yeah, Bloodrain realizes he can't even... He's going to put the Dire Avengers on it. Is there an Assault Cannon Barrage ready? There are also Devastators. Devastators, however, they just barely set up. Oh no, but then they just decide to unset up. The Dire Avengers, what are they doing in here anymore? I mean, the intention with the Dire Avengers, I believe, was to throw a grenade on the Devastators. But the Devastators, they didn't even finish setting up. So they're actually able to move away pretty easily. We're going to have one Las Cannon Devastator shot on the Falcon. Why is the Falcon going back in? Okay, if Falcon activates its energy shield, which does make it certainly a lot able to withstand the damage of the Devastator Marine Squad, but it's still, the Falcon by itself does not have what it takes to dislodge this position. We're having another Avatar coming out of Bloodrain, and I'm not sure again if this is the way to go. Although the question is also, if the Avatar is not the way to go, what is the way to go? I actually think this is very difficult for Bloodrain to deal with. I think... I mean, the problem for Bloodrain is there's like an overwhelming amount of vehicle armor against him. And he, especially with the loss of the Brightlands, he does not have sufficient anti-vehicle to deal with this. So... But I don't know if the Avatar is the answer. I mean, we see the Avatar, it certainly does force the Devastators back, but it doesn't really address the problem of dealing with these vehicles. And as long as these vehicles are here, at the moment they're just doing a better job of controlling the space and controlling the victory point positions better than the Avatar is, in part because they're doing so much damage at range. A Dire Avenger squad tries to get on the victory point, and they just get nuked by the Assault Cannon Barrage. And, oh my god, DarkHero getting a 4th Dreadnought. So yeah, like, what does Bloodrain get? The problem is, when I actually try to look at the other options, it's hard to figure out exactly what he needs. He might have needed, like, a mix of things. I mean, he bought 2 Avatars, and with the cost of 2 Avatars, you can get a lot of other things. I think he might have needed, like, maybe, like, 1 Fire Prism, maybe even a D-Cannon, for Christ's sakes. like put a singularity that will force the scouts and the Techmarine off the field, that will leave the dreadnoughts without repair support. And then, oh my god, and I just realized Bloodrain also has an Eldritch ready. Problem with an Eldritch, though, could be a little hard to set up without, oh my god, yeah, the Avatar has gotten massively baited. The Avatar has been massively baited. Oh my god, yeah, I mean, DarkHero's ignoring it. The Falcon finally goes down, and that might just finally be the nail in the coffin. Eldritch finally comes out. It's not going to get... Actually, this is... I hate to say it, but this is not a good Eldritch. With it, like, it was never going to eliminate one of the dreadnoughts by itself. It was going to get the haywire effect and snare one dreadnought, but without any follow-up. Yeah, this is actually game over in favor of DarkHero.
This is most unfortunate.
There it is. Well, that was actually a bizarre game. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.